I'm a shorty, so I'll have to lower this a little bit. Hi there. This is a question for Mr. Fraser. First of all, I'd like to comment that answer about hydro was just silly. But in any case, I am gratified that you are so concerned about cuts to health care for the most vulnerable refugees. So I would like to ask this question. And by the way, I'm a resident of Hunt Club Park, one of the burbs you did not mention, though that's okay, I'll forgive you for that.
I did say Hunt Club. I'm sorry I didn't get the
I didn't
part.
hear Hunt Club Park. I note that some
you're part of Ottawa.
Okay, cutting into my time, sorry. I note that some of your campaign signs refer to your service to the community. How do you explain that more than 3,000 Ontario physiotherapists workers will be out of a job as of August 1st, ironically by-election day, many of them in Ottawa South? I myself happen to know one of the physiotherapists who's just been informed she's out of work. Over the last 2 weeks, is it not a fact that more than 35,000 seniors living in retirement homes, supportive housing, and their own homes have been notified that their physiotherapist will not be able to treat them after August 1st? Is this your liberal idea of service to the community, or is it just one more example of liberal mismanagement of our healthcare system?
Well, those assertions are simply not true. And if you take a look at the policy that we've changed in regards to physiotherapy, it's about access. For the last 40 years, 90 clinics have been able to provide OHIP service. So if you're in downtown Toronto, you got great service. If you weren't, if you were somewhere outside of Ottawa, you didn't get service. That's why the Ontario physiotherapists and the Canadian physiotherapists support this move. It's about access. My dad has an exercise class. I take him twice a week. May I please answer the question? Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I was just at Billingswood Manor today, and I was at Rideau Pearly Veterans yesterday, and I spoke to the physiotherapist there, and I spoke to the CEO at the Pearly Rideau Veterans. And we're going to get the transition right. People are not going to lose services, but this is about making sure that more people get services and more people physiotherapists can participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the question, and this is an issue that I am very concerned about. Actually heard the Premier speaking on Friday describing the government's rationale for why these cuts were made in our proceeding. And what really concerned me a lot was it seemed to be a question of, because there were some parts of the province that were identified as seniors not having access to the very important services they need, they would take away from seniors who need those services in other areas, so bringing seniors down to the lowest common denominator of service rather than ensuring that all seniors, regardless of where they live, have access to the physiotherapy services needed. The Premier went on to say that she is committed to ensuring that seniors have good physical activity, and my question was, by having now to physically walk or get themselves to their physiotherapy rather than having access so they can continue to be as physically able as possible. I will fight these cuts, and I will ensure that all seniors have access to the physio they need.
Thank you, Mr. Michel. Mr. Post, please.
I really do appreciate what physiotherapists do. Being an avid motorcyclist, I was hit on my motorcycle over a year ago, and I currently go to physiotherapy twice a week. And I think they're a very important part of the medical system. And I'd like to thank the lady for asking that question, because I was wondering myself. Thank you.
To personalize it, I guess
My daughter one of my daughters just completed a degree in human kinetics at the University of Ottawa. Part of her work was in a physiotherapy clinic, so there's a little bit of a personal connection. I have a master's in exercise physiology, and I'm somewhat familiar with that side of things too. That being said, that's all very nice. In a free market, there are all the physiotherapists that one can ask for. The question is only, are they allowed to do the job that they want to do, and are people allowed to hire them? Our current healthcare system presents obstacle after obstacle to people getting the service that they want. In many cases, probably not in physiotherapy, but in many cases they are willing to pay for it, but it is against the law for them to obtain it under a normal contract. I go to a dentist on a regular basis. I've noticed no shortage of dentists. I go to a chiropractor on a regular basis. Never noticed a shortage of chiropractors. Why is it that the systems that the government controls, and to the degree they do, inevitably end up with this kind of argument and in chronic shortage? Think about it.
I have a tough time following Mr. McClure because he's absolutely right. You have no lack of dentists. Whatever the healthcare has been allowed to compete against the public healthcare, they beat it hands down. And wherever the government cannot provide the service, they let it go private. Like you said, dentistry, eye doctors. The minute they are allowed to go on their own, there's an abundance of that service. I mean, how many people here have a hard time finding a dentist? You can find a dentist a dime a dozen. They're all over the place. They have no problem making a living. But how many people can find a family doctor? There you go. The government regulates how many doctors are going to graduate from the universities. So that's the problem right there.
You ever paid for a crown lately? Yeah. Dentist rates aren't coming down, they're going up.
For special circumstance, we let Mr. Redden speak just now.
My answer to that are they actual cuts or restructuring? PPSN supports any type of other form of medical treatments in Ontario, including bringing back chiropractic services under OHIP. So my general question is, are they cuts or restructuring? We don't know, but whenever there's like a cut to dollars, there's always less dollars. That means to me there's a cut.
Mr. Trammell.
Well, as we suffer the pains and agonies of not enough money to take care of our people and keep the professionals employed, we can sit there and say, thank God in Argentina, all those professionals kept their jobs. Maybe they were brighter, but they said, we'll take bonds at our pay instead of money you don't have, kept all their jobs. Maybe if you explained it to your friend, she'd wise up. Or maybe she's just not smart enough as like an Argentinian to work her job. So I think that's a heavy shot, my dear. But if she doesn't want to say pay me in bonds, she don't deserve a job. Hey, who won't take provincial bonds? Put up your hand, moron. Well, I'm finding you. Okay, not bad. Yay. Bonds are good chips.
Thank you, Mr. Trammell. Mr. Young.
5 people.
Let's be honest. This government is cutting physiotherapy services for seniors. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are reducing the amount of money available each year to physiotherapy services, and they are offering it through a far less efficient system for dogmatic reasons.
Give us some more. Yeah.
This is only the beginning of what this government is doing in the healthcare system.
Show us what you can do.
A few months ago, they laid off 300 people at the General Hospital, including almost 100 nurses. Before that, they laid off 100 or so people at Les Etruyères and closed 25 specialty care beds.
Not in Argentina.
They have cut the services across the province and across the board. They made these cuts while wasting hundreds of millions of dollars on a new health bureaucracy. They made these cuts because the cupboard is bare because they spent all of our money on mismanagement and scandal. Stop taking services away from our seniors. Let's prioritize spending on healthcare instead of canceled power plants.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Ms. Howard.
As mentioned before, when I was with the question of access to refugee care, for example, the model that we would have would be community health care centers. So there would be no cuts for seniors, there would be no cuts to anyone in particular. All the services would be equal and fairly disposed.
Thank you. It is 10 to 9. There's 9 candidates.